What's going on, crew? You're getting this email and watching this video because you are already a healthy individual. You're a peak veteran, we'll call it. But I have you in mind when I'm thinking about this program that I just came up with the other day. So I'm driving to work the other day, listening to a podcast, and it's all about health metrics and details of health optimization. And I'm reflecting on myself and my own schedule and eating habits and behaviors and all that kind of stuff. And I've spent, the last probably 6 to 8 months training for something performance oriented. So mountain bike race, road Gran Fondo, or some weight room specific targets, and performance has been like the number one goal. And in performance training, sometimes we let go of some other health metrics that are critical for long-term health, but we give them up a little bit in favor for some other habits or strategies that we do short-term to get a bigger outcome in one area. And that's what I've been doing. So now that I don't have anything scheduled in my my race plan for the rest of the year and into probably like spring of 2026, I need to recalibrate. And I'm calling this a recalibration because it's not like I'm sitting around and neither are you, drinking 7-Ups and eating Doritos, but there's a lot out there that we can do for ourselves to optimize our health. And sometimes we get off track or we get caught up in the day-to-day training or the run we have to do or the performance metrics, and we lose sight of our consistency with the big picture. So whenever you have a downtime with a performance-oriented goal, or maybe you don't have performance-oriented goals, your goals are health-oriented, but we need a little recalibration to get on track to optimize. So we're going to call this program Optimized Health Recalibration. So all of you know a ton about health, a ton about nutrition. We've probably had conversations, appointments, or ongoing coaching discussing all these different strategies. And for me, I'll highlight my weak areas right now that I need to recalibrate. Number one, I'm awake too many hours. I get up way too early, I go to bed too late, and I'm eating most of that time. So even though I'm burning calories, I'm exercising a lot, I'm taking in a lot of food, I'm taking in a lot of snacks, and I'm not giving my GI system a break. I'm not recovering optimally because I'm not sleeping enough. And the sleep that I do get, I'm eating way too close to that window that we should have before we go to bed within like 2 to 3 hours. I'm consuming food because I'm at work late, or I'm training late, or I'm coaching a practice or something like that. And long term, those things play a role in your health. If you have sleep reduction, even, acutely just for like 1 or 2 nights, you can present like you're on a path towards diabetes. Your blood sugar is going to be elevated, insulin's going to be elevated, and you're not going to process foods the way you should. So that's a big one for me. The other thing is I drink way too much caffeine to keep myself going because I don't recover optimally. So I'm constantly in nervous system excite mode, in that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system drive, and that's not healthy either. And I know I hear it from a lot of you guys, and I agree. So I need to change that. I need to find some different ways to get better recovery, to improve my real energy, not my synthetic energy. And then I also need to watch what I'm eating. Like, I don't eat perfect, as many of you might think. I'm constantly in and out of appointments, running after work. I fall into the rut when I get really crazy busy, and I'm eating Cliff Bars and having crackers or whatever it is to just kind of fill the void. Tapping into a couple extra bites of a peanut butter sandwich that I'm making for the kids or something like that. It's not good for me, it's not good for them, and I just need to reset. As I'm thinking about all those things that I need to do, and I'm listening to this podcast, the origin of most problems when it comes to health, long-term and short-term, is excessive glucose in the system, right? So it's inflammation and it's glucose, and with glucose we need the secretion of insulin from our pancreas to deal with it. And if we constantly are pumping that thing all day long because we're snacking, or way too many hours, or we're eating these foods that are not, optimized macronutrient balanced foods, or we're tapping into our processed foods, we're going to be on that pathway. and that pathway sneaks up on us. And I'm currently 43, and my blood work shows that I've got to get some stuff in alignment that's not optimized right now. So I need to, again, change the way I'm eating, change the time window that I'm eating in, abide by some rules with not eating before bed, not throwing food down my throat as soon as I wake up in the morning, having some better recovery, sleep aids, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, I'm going to do an October recalibration, and I'm inviting you to join me. So we're going to use this as like a beta test model for something I'd like to do here in the future and work for people that don't have the education and know-how that you do. So I want to use this because, number one, I don't have a ton of time to put together all the details for a bunch of newbies right now. And I know that we can quickly get things in alignment with a little content, a little education, and some accountability. So I need your support to kind of help me be accountable, and hopefully I can provide the same for you. So let me take you through this program. But basically, it's going to be a 4-week, or let's say October duration program. It's going to help us not only get on track and optimize our health and fitness, but give us some really good strategies and a really good kind of set point at the end of the month as we get into a season that's not going to make things any easier for us with the holidays coming up in November, December. So game plan is to go into the holidays in a great place, get some metrics, get some strategies dialed in. I know some of you, not going to name any names, but are looking to drop some weight. You're exercising your butts off, you're working really hard. We just need to work a little smarter. This is a great way to do it. Some of you maybe, for life circumstances, have been off the map a little bit with your exercise consistency. This is going to be great for you too. Those of you guys that just want to look good in your Halloween costume, maybe this will help you get there, right? So this is kind of a catch-all for everybody health-oriented, already knows a decent amount about health, training, fitness, foods. We're just going to dial things up and get really detail-oriented over the next month. So let me take you through this program. All right, so we're calling this Optimized Health Recalibration. All right, and what this is all about, or our goals for this program, and let's start with priorities here. It's to suppress our glucose, over the course of a day and a week, and then our insulin response also suppressed as we are not taking in as much glucose. So we got to watch our carbohydrate. We're still going to learn how to use our carbohydrates for fueling exercise. This is not to detrain for this month. It's just to prioritize these other things. I want to optimize my hormone levels, right? As I'm aging, things are not moving in a favorable manner, and we want to make sure that we're doing the things we can with stress reduction, right, with fueling strategies, and having some foods that also help aid and optimize hormones. We want to reduce risk of chronic disease, right? And I know that sounds weird as a 43-year-old, but every decade matters, and every decade leads into the next. And this stuff can start pretty early. And if we catch some blood work ahead of time, we can see the trajectory that we're on. For some of you, maybe you have some big targets with your lab work that we need to change. And this is how we're going to do it. Inflammation, source of a lot of our chronic preventable diseases. We need to make sure that we're getting rid of our processed foods, we're getting rid of our constant carbohydrate intake, and we're adding some anti-inflammatory foods and potentially supplementation there to help that. Reducing cravings, that's one of my big things. When I'm training for racing, I'm taking in a lot of carbohydrate. Well, then all I want is carbohydrate. And on the days where I'm not training so hard, I'm still eating a lot of carbohydrate and I don't need it. So getting rid of that, or modifying when and how and type and timing, can help you reduce those cravings so you're making better decisions. And then improving eating habits and sources overall. All right, by default, what you're going to get from doing those things or achieving those goals, you're going to get some fat loss. We're going to have improvement in energy. We're going to be able to be a little more metabolically flexible, or be able to use fat as a fuel source at rest and at low to moderate intensity exercise, which is what we should be doing. But excessive carbohydrate intake or lack of sleep is going to take us away from being able to do that. And that's a big marker for optimizing health metrics long term. Improve recovery, right? So by having the right foods and the right timing, and again, our sleep, recovery, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system function, we can improve our recovery. And we don't need to rely on 11 fit aids and coffees all day. Risk reduction for preventable disease, right? By default, all these things will help trend us in the right direction here. And lab test optimization, right? I want to really address the couple lab tests that are not favorable for me, and hopefully you do the same. And then controlling our eating habits leading into the high-risk holiday season. All right, so what's the game plan for this thing? So we're going to break this down into some different phases, okay? So our initial phase is going to be a catch-all. We're just going to be aware. We're going to build awareness through assessing our current behaviors. We're going to set some goals, and we're going to use some metrics to see where we are and to track moving forward. Some of those metrics we can expect changes in 30 days, and some might take more like 4 to 6 months. But let's find them, let's recalibrate those, track them, test them early, test them late. Phase 2, we're going to set targets for your food quality. So we want to get rid of our processed foods, right? Obviously, fill that with whole foods, things that we can actually find in nature. We need to work on our timing, or I need to work on my timing. Shorten eating windows, understand when I'm eating in relation to my workouts versus a day where I'm not working out that has a big demand. And then types of foods for you. We all have different bodies, we all have different needs, all have different targets. The program is going to be about understanding what's good for you and how you can have some flexibility in this program. This is not a diet. This is not a one-size-fits-all. Phase 3, we're going to take an additional step here with accuracy and details, targeting quantity now. So instead of just sourcing and timing and quality, but what's your quantity needed, right? We all have different metabolic rates. We have different activity levels. How do we measure that? Can we test it? Is it an estimation? Can we use our wearable technology? And let's also dive into macronutrient balance. And then phase 4, we're going to blend time-restricted eating with fueling needs for performance. So what I mean by that is, if we're giving our body glucose for 12 hours, on and off, on and off, on and off, insulin actually stays elevated for up to 6 hours. So you really never get a break, or your pancreas never gets a break, and that is leading to some unhealthy changes in your body long term. So how can we restrict our feeding window and take it from, let's say me, at 12 hours down to 10, down to 8, maybe play with 6, maybe play with some fasting. And then also on days where we're giving our body a big ask, where we have a long duration endurance activity, or we have a high intensity interval training day, that's a different day. We need to make sure we meet the demands there, and maybe our window's a little bigger, maybe what we're eating in that window is different. So we're going to dive into the details there and learn how to be flexible that way. And then we're going to finish this program where we've kind of trained up for it to be ready for a guided fast. So in a perfect world, everybody can be metabolically flexible in 30 days. We get rid of our cravings, and then we can do our little, in quotes, detox. I know that's overused, but we can get rid of some damaged cells in our body, or we can really get deep into ketosis or deep into fat utilization, we'll call it. And then after that fast, as we kind of graduated, we can plan what's going to work that we've learned, that we've played with, that we've practiced, that you can take with you for long-term success so you don't go back to old patterns. So that's basically the gist of it. What we're going to do is have a food tracking app. Many of you guys use Chronometer, so we'll be using that throughout. I'll help you out with lab testing and some resources. We're going to have a kind of open forum on WhatsApp for community support. We'll be sharing recipes. We'll be talking through struggles, successes, and so on. I'm going to share a bunch of educational content. Would love feedback from you guys. Would love any added information you have that can help each other. We'll share some recipe ideas. Lord knows I'm not the best cook, but I can keep things stupid simple. Love to get some recipes from you guys along the way. And then we'll determine our individual specific flexibility kind of plan as we go. And then we'll have big supplement discounts on all the stuff that we need that'll help us out as we get through this program. That's the gist of the program, guys. Would love to see you join. You're going to help me. I'm going to help you. We're going to beta test this thing and have a bunch of success and get all of our ducks in a row here. And then I'll be able to go in the future and help a bunch of other newbies in the peak community. So hopefully this speaks to you, and we're going to get started next week. So saddle up, check out the email. You're going to have a link for registration, so we just understand what your specific needs and goals are. We'll get you signed up, and we'll start rolling stuff out on Monday. Thanks, guys.